All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to explore this really fascinating concept, how the tiniest, almost invisible daily micro decisions completely shape our ultimate destiny. We're pulling from a deeply compelling thought experiment called The Architect of Two Cells, and it basically breaks down the mechanics of success and failure. But not as these huge, dramatic, grand events. No, it's about a series of quiet, everyday choices. It's all about the two versions of you and the exact life you are actively choosing every single day. So, picture this. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning, expecting just another totally normal day. You walk into the bathroom, look in the mirror, but instead of seeing your usual reflection, the glass splits right down the middle. You're suddenly staring at two distinct futures, two completely different versions of yourself. One of these versions, they became absolutely everything you ever wanted. The other, they became literally everything you feared. And here's the crazy part. Both of these versions started exactly where you are today. Same room, same dreams, same messy, unfinished plans. Right away, there's this intense, visceral contrast between the two. The version on the left just smiles lazily at you and says, "Hey, relax, you have time." And honestly, that's super enticing, isn't it? It's comfortable. But then you look at version 2, the successful one. They look completely calm, grounded, and they just tell you straight up, you should begin. Now, in the moment, it's so easy to just laugh this off and think, oh, it's not a big decision. But guess what? Neither of your future versions are laughing. Which brings us to part 1, the trap of small choices. Let's say it's morning, your alarm goes off, and kind of ironically, your brain hits you with this perfect step-by-step recipe for failure. It whispers, just sleep 30 more minutes, skip the workout today, maybe watch just one more video, we'll start tomorrow. It tells you to reward yourself first, right? Because you deserve the rest. And because nothing terrible happens immediately when you hit that snooze button, you just do it again and again. Every single one of these little concessions feels completely harmless in the moment. Meanwhile, version 2 is showing up less and less. And they aren't even angry with you. They're just watching. And if you were to scream at version 2, "Why don't you force me? Why don't you just make me get out of bed?" They just deliver this quiet, sobering realization. I don't control your future. You do. Boom. Nobody else is coming to save you. Nobody else can make these tiny choices for you. It's all on you. And you really see how this plays out over time. On day 1, yeah, those choices are harmless. But a few weeks later, comfort firmly sets in. Fast forward a few months, your whole environment has changed. The papers where you wrote down your dreams are literally gathering dust. Your goals just kind of vanish, and excuses slowly paper over the walls. You don't necessarily feel this sudden, massive pain of failure. You just feel completely stuck. All the while, version 2 is out there growing stronger. Not because life handed them a golden ticket, but simply because they kept moving. Moving into part 2, the illusion of perfection. So eventually, you finally ask version 2, okay, how are you actually getting better? How are you doing this? And they drop this incredibly powerful insight. They say, I stopped negotiating with myself. Just think about that for a second. Think about how much mental energy we waste every single day just debating whether or not to do the thing we already know we should do. Ending those internal daily compromises, that is the absolute first step to breaking out of the trap. Now, you might hear that and think, yeah, well, that sounds completely impossible for me. But version 2 explains it perfectly. It felt impossible every day, until it became normal. You see, discipline isn't some magical superpower given to a lucky few. It's not. You just have to do the hard, seemingly impossible things over and over again until they literally just become your baseline normal. But let's be real here for a second. Anyone who's ever tried to build a new habit knows all about the hard day cycle. You might have one amazing day of progress, right? You get up early, you work hard, you exercise, you study, you feel absolutely unstoppable. And then you crash and burn the very next day. You sleep in, the guilt just totally washes over you, and right on cue, version 1 pops back up to whisper, see, I told you, you aren't disciplined. It makes you just want to throw your hands up and quit altogether. But right when you're on the absolute edge of quitting, right when version 1 is practically mocking you, version 2 steps in with this profound truth. Missing one day doesn't destroy your future. Stopping does. And wow, that completely shifts the paradigm, doesn't it? It takes the focus away from this impossible standard of perfection, and it grounds everything in continuity. Listen, you are allowed to stumble, for sure. You just aren't allowed to stay down. Let's look at part 3, building your future identity. As time goes on, the divergence between these two paths becomes completely undeniable. After 1 week, time starts to accelerate. By 6 months, the gap between the person taking the easy road and the person making the hard choices widens significantly. And by 5 years, two vastly different realities emerge. The screen of your life is entirely split. It just proves there is absolutely no magic formula at play here. It is only repeated choices compounding over time. Just look at the stark contrast in their current states. Version 1 is, well, they're just older. And their daily action? They're still waiting. Still telling themselves they'll start one day. But version 2? They aren't perfect. Actually, they're still tired. And yeah, they still fail sometimes. But their daily action is that they are constantly moving, continuously growing, and always building. When we finally step into their end states, their final rooms, the tragedy of the lazy version is completely rooted in this illusion of endless time. Their realization is just, I thought there would always be time. It's heartbreaking. But on the flip side, the success of the disciplined version came from a really sobering realization of time's strict limits. They say, I realized there wasn't. If you ask the successful version when the big shift happened, this is their answer. I stopped trying to change my whole life and started changing one day. I really want you to absorb that. The ultimate secret was never some massive sweeping overhaul of their entire life. It was simply narrowing their focus, shrinking it way down, and taking total control of a single 24-hour block. To summarize everything we've unpacked in this explainer today, we really need to unlearn some incredibly popular myths. Your future is not built by some magical, endless well of motivation. It is definitely not built by innate talent, and it is not built by pure luck. It is built by tiny, repeated choices. That is the actual engine of your destiny. Which leads us perfectly to this foundational definition. What actually is identity? It isn't just a fun label you slap on your social media profile. Your identity is, quite literally, the compounding result of tiny choices repeated so many times that they eventually become who you are. The things you do every single day stack up like bricks over the course of years, and eventually, that is the house you have to live in. So, I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. There are two versions of you waiting in the future. Both of them are very, very real possibilities right now. The final outcome has absolutely not been decided yet. So I want you to really think about this the very next time your morning alarm goes off. Which version of you are you choosing to feed today?